Oh my goodness. Seriously, I have. Oh my goodness. Seriously, I have to just do it. It's like I can tell myself I don't have to think about things that don't matter.
I was designed to do those things. How the hell does this guy know this about me?
It's impossible to not see.
When Dan read for my sister, she was like, he's psychic. She's like, how did you know that? She's like, it's human design, guys. Like, it's just a testimony of how legit it is.
Seriously, Danny was like FBI or CIA. Like, how the hell does this guy know this about me?
Having my chart read, they were just thing after thing after thing. I was just like, wow, that's me.
This man is reading me, and I've never met him before.
I was in the midst of one of the biggest emotional waves I've ever been in my life, and he saved my life.
It seems like everybody has the same reaction. It's that aha moment, and they want to find out more.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Human Design Advantage podcast, our Sunday show. Today, we are on episode number 34, part 2, where we're going to be covering the ego center. My name is Jen, and decoding the matrix for us is Dan.
Hey, Jen, it's nice to be here.
Nice to be here, too. Did you, just out of curiosity, did you hear like a double play on the intro?
It was like it started and then it started again. Yep.
The reason I'm going to ask that question is because popping on a little bit before, guys, we had, it was kind of glitchy. So if we have glitches, just giving you a heads up. But yeah, I don't know why that happened. So
more of our intro is better. So maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
More better. Hey, you live in Texas. Better. Bigger's better.
Bigger is better. That's
more
exactly
is better.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's get into this ego center. We had left off last. Was there anything else, Jen?
No, just make sure you guys, you know what to do. You know the drills. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow the show. And if you know somebody that would benefit from this, make sure you share it out.
Share it widely, guys. Share this whole thing widely. And all of it. We've got 34 episodes here of this. We've got another 30 or so episodes.
30 something of the Wednesday show. So
we're pumping out a lot of really good material here. So anyhow, so we're getting on to the ego center. And do you have the graphic we can pull up? It was the same one from last week. Mm-hmm. It's just a nice, simple. I love this look, Jen. I adore this. So anyway, this heart motor center. So just to recap, the ego center is one of 4 motors in the body graph. Motors energize the rest of everything. They move us. The root center, solar plex, the prime motor, which is the sacral, and then the ego. The ego is this will. It's willing to work. It's willing to keep a tribe together and to make sacrifices.
So the root motor as well?
Yeah. That's why yours and mine's open root is like that. Yeah.
So I have 2 motors, my solar plex and my ego.
Yep. Exactly. I have one, the sacral. And so exactly. And so what this ego is doing is this ego is determining. So the ego isn't meant to be on all day. None of them, only the sacral is meant to be on all day. So if you're having, if you're in an emotional way, because you have an emotional definition, you're not meant to be energized on that day in and day out. It's just not there to do that. It wears itself out. You'll have all kinds of fatigue. Adrenaline, the root center. If you stay under pressure all day long, day after day, you'll have adrenal fatigue. The only motor that's meant to just sustain is the sacral, and it's just a dumb box, doesn't know any better. It's a beautiful mechanism. And then back to the ego. Beautiful power in this ego. This ego power drives. It's the ego is at the head of the army marshaling across the field. That's the ego. The ego is in the family. That is like, we've got to build this. We've got to build this thing for our family. The ego makes that commitment. The sacral and all the rest of it, motorize the work. But the ego is this commitment will. Humanity has a genetic proclivity to make commitments that bind us together and bond us. And that's all in the heart center, this ego willpower. We're going to do this. We're going to get this together. The ego is where the human being has a very deep sense of I've got this. I'm doing this. I did that, and that's a healthy thing. Once you did something really good, it's healthy for the individual to say, I did it.
Mm-hmm.
We tell our children all the time when they're littles, right? Mommy, I did this, and we're so happy for them. So why would we then dissuade them later to not do the exact same thing later in life? It's crazy. If they're excited, if the human is excited about the thing they just did, let them say I. Right?
That's a great way to put that. Because some people can take it as, being boastful.
Right.
But I was learning, there's a difference between being prideful of something, where that is that 5-year-old that's like, oh my God, look what it is that I did, than being boastful about it. So it's just two different energies when you pay attention the way that it comes out.
Absolutely.
You as an adult, I think more adults should be,
a little bit boastful about whatever their I is. And if
prideful, not boastful, because
Sure.
boastful can turn into where it's more
toxic pride rather than healthy pride, basically.
Correct.
Sure. Yeah. The terminology is important, and I'll go with that. You have pride in your thing. If someone did something, no matter what the age, let them have their I. So if you're an open ego, that I doesn't really last long. You're happy you did the thing. It comes, it goes. If you're a defined ego, that I did this may last a little while, and the people around you should totally be excited about that for you. It's like a few different colors or shades of color different from the same exact thing. That's all. So, and last week we did gates 51 and 21. The warrior that leaps and the controller that helps move the tribe in a unified direction. And now we've got gates 26 and gate 40. That is a 4. So gate 40, I'm going to start with gate 40 first, the gate of deliverance. And it's called the gate of aloneness. It's one of a few gates that we have of aloneness in our body graph. We have a 33, a 12, and a 40, technically a 26 as well. But this aloneness is called liberation. So the ego is designed to work and do stuff and I keep using the term, put your shoulder to the wheel. That's an ego commitment. Whether you're a generator or not, doesn't matter. At the moment of doing that, there's some kind of willpower at work to do this. Otherwise, the generators would just generate and everyone else would just be under pressure. The ego helps actually tamp that down. And gate 40's gate of aloneness says, I'm looking for that point of liberation. I'm looking for this point of liberation between all the work I had to do and the rest. And that is the liberation. It's liberating itself from everything else. And in that, if part of its reward ratio is that it must be left alone for a little bit when it's done using all its ego power. And when I say left alone, not lonely, but what you looking at?
I have gate 40.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking at what line it was in, but yeah, I have gate 40. So that's...
What line is it in? Does it
5.
Say? Okay, so it's good. That matches your personality.
In my Saturn.
Awesome. So this is a very powerful force in your life. It's in a defined center. And gate 40 is willing to do the work. It's willing to basically do the work, and it's payment. There's a genetic payment in all of this that it receives. Remember before, I've been pointing out the world is not very interested in money. We think we are, but money is an abstract concept that really just saps our vitality in reality. If you think about it, you exchange your life force for paper money or whatever the currency form is, only to hope to reconvert it later back into your life force that you can enjoy. That's called a bad deal,
It is a great way to put it.
It's a bad deal on all fronts. Hey, give me $50. I'll definitely give you back, at least 28, maybe 32.
Well, even like when you're building a business, online or however you want to do that, what I like to work with my clients is, what would you do what brings you passion outside of you getting paid for it. I would still be doing the same thing that I do day in and day out, regardless of the money that comes in or out. It's just that the matrix, the system has made us dependent on it because that is how we survive. But what brings you passion? I mean, if you find what brings you passion, you'll never work a day in your life.
That's a wicked good point. And gate 40, when there is when its reward feels satisfying, feels victorious, gives it peace, when any of these rewards are there, the ego is willing to do the work. And then, like you said, and then it doesn't end up being the work. And what its payment is what's on the other side of gate 40 in the solar plex center, that gate 37. That gate 37, this gate of the warmth, of the emotional intelligence, to be supportive and affectionate. Take an archetype, just man, woman, back in the 50s or something like that. Guy's out there, he drives his trash truck all day, whatever it is he's doing, right? And he does the thing, blah, 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 blah. He comes home. That ego has brought home the bacon, so to speak. And his payment, he'll never need a dime in his life. When his gate 37, when the missus and mom, who's been working her ass off, by the way, just simply applies some affection. Thank you, sweetie, you did a really good job. And this goes either way, male, female, doesn't matter. As soon as this gate 40 is participating in the act of affection, giving it too, but basically receiving it if it's a gate 40, giving it if it's a gate 37. And the gate 37 is an awareness center in the solar plex. So that's aware that this was good. And affection becomes a primary currency. Think about how sweet it is, Jennifer, when somebody just gives you a great big hug for all the work you just did for them, because it made a big difference and you saw what happened in their life and they love you. And you can tell it's not one of those fake French hugs from that awful place that's doing the modeling with the children. It's a real hug.
I think that would go into, what are your 5 love languages?
This is one of them, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not much of a, because I have gate 40. I don't have you said 37, right?
37, yeah, you don't have 30.
I don't have 37, but I'm not much of an affectionate person.
No.
However, I do, my love language is service. So it's the acknowledgement, it's the seeing. So I can.
It's an
that would be a good thing to dive into when it's coming from that.
It's an emotionally intelligent thing to do, to have affection as a love language for all the work that just got poured out of gate 40. Now, someone would say, I have the whole channel, so what do I have to do? Give myself affection? No, it's a planetary phenomena, and it's in the world. And so you still need the affection, generally speaking. And all it really says is that affection, appreciation, emotional warmth, a smooth emotional wave that allows the feeling of peace and satisfaction and victory and all of that to show up. This becomes one of our prime currencies. It becomes one of our primary currencies. So I could make a declarative statement that the entire world could actually throw all of its money away, all of it, even the gold and silver, by the way, just anything we call intermediate currency that turns our life force into an inanimate thing before it reconverts it back into a life force again after having wasted its life force to do that in the first place. So we could do away with all the money and all the planet, all the stuff, quite literally, and have it be a little bit like Star Trek, said it was about 150 years from now. They said that's how they said it was. So I'm going with Gene Roddenberry that we're getting there. If the entire planet was aware that in its own homes and in its own surroundings, that this appreciation and this affection for the sophistication of the ego, that the ego is sophisticated enough to know what is supportive and what deals to keep and what commitments to make and what work to do, what message to transmit, all of these things, when to go it alone. So this gate of aloneness, along with, other gate, will just go it alone, leave me alone. It can be into the nihilist of a sorts, where it just, I don't want any more to do with any of this. That's the ego saying, I'm taking my rest now. It was the ego that said, hey, no more 16-hour days. You know, the willpower, the will of the tribe will speak, and we're negotiating for better terms. The ego will always negotiate for better terms as long as it is moving itself towards more rest and less work. There's a balance there. It's not all rest, no work. You know, there's a balance because the ego needs to work. That's part of its life force. Part of its life force is to go do something. It's like go dig a hole, go dig a ditch, go move the snow. It wants to get out and do the work. It's happy. And as long as it can feel that that love and support and affection, everything in this tribal stream of awareness is about support. It's keynoted through all of these two gates, the ones we're going to be describing. It needs the support. Support translates to affection. Not exactly one for one, but it absolutely can. It's part of the mixture. Look at affection like this beautiful soup. A miso soup that's so good and it's got all the right ingredients. And this is that. Gate 40 is looking for the right ingredients of that appreciation and affection. And when it gets it, it becomes its prime currency. There are lots of places where that ego goes out and does the work. And just the fact that it is loved and it feels like there is affection and love in its life, it never complains. And it gets back up in the morning, like the time to make the donuts guy, and he goes out and makes the donuts, and he comes back, and it just, this would actually pay everything. This would actually pay everything, and it would, now that I think about it, would decentralize currency because the affection would be inside of the beings. The work and the love and the work would be inside of the people, and it would decentralize currency if we move towards affection as a form of currency. That's just a notion that people scratch their head, but it's true. This affection would be given everywhere. And so this nihilism and this denial, gate 40 can also sharply be like, no, and deny the work, deny the ability, deny the affection, deny the warmth. It can deny it all. And that's not a true self or not self theme. It's whatever that person's strategy and authority is and their chemistry going on at the time. Sometimes denial is healthy. Hey, you slaved me to death. I'm going to break bones. I'm going to wear out my kneecaps. I'm done. I deny your request. I deny your love. I deny your time. I deny. It can deny. And it's correct for it, depending. Sometimes it can go too far inside of social circumstances, inside of whatever. And so what? It's about this gate. Whoever has a gate 40, it's about their gate 40 learning what is that right work-rest ratio. Gate 40 is sitting here telling us, find the ratio, find that balance, find it, because you're going to get sick. This is the stomach is here. This is part of the heart muscle. This is people who overwork themselves with a gate 40 and don't have the right love and affection in their life, and the right smooth emotional intelligence isn't there helping to understand its worth. And it can't tell its own worth in it all, yet it keeps doing this stuff. That guy or gal's going to an early grave.
Yes, I'm in trial and error with the gate 40 right now and learning my strategy and authority as a manifester and an entrepreneur, because I experience burnout. And when you're building a business, getting into burnout is not a really good place to be. And that is because I went full force into everything that I was doing before I knew what my design was, acting like a generator and getting into all these different masterminds and with other generators who were telling me that I had to be just like them. And if I wasn't putting in the effort, then I wasn't dedicated to my business, just as, the way that they were. Well, I'm not. I'm a manifester. Right. So when I have my rest period, especially this past year, I have been honoring my rest period. When I have my energy, I remember
talking about this. Yeah,
it comes through. And now what I am doing is, making sure that because the energy is coming through and it's a creative energy, that I'm not getting stuck in my head that I have to do everything at once because it's here. I'm paying really close attention to not experiencing that burnout and what to do when I get to those moments that I don't have the energy coming through. So
you stop. Deny.
Well,
alone.
yes, but when you are building a business, there's stuff that I can put, okay, I can do those things when I don't quite have the energy because it's not going to take much of the creative flow or whatever. And I can focus on this one instead of like trying to focus on everything at once because the energy is coming through.
Well, that's a
Like
form
I'm
of
finding
stopping.
that balance.
Yeah, that's a form of that's got some stopping in it. It's putting on the brakes.
Mm-hmm.
I put on the brakes as I approach the light. I haven't stopped yet. I'm just putting on the brakes. But you'll know when to come to a complete stop. It's something that you experiment with and you start to see it. The things that make it so clear if gate 40 is working too much and not coming to its complete stop is its energy isn't at a good solid 90 to 100%.
Yes.
In the moments when it is back on the clock doing the thing, whatever the deal is that it's into, whatever creative pursuit or anything. So it's something to just be super duper aware of. And about that story you just told, notice all because you were amongst a bunch of generators, and if there were projectors and reflectors and or manifestors tucked in the group that was speaking, they were suffering too.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, yes, because most of them I'm really good friends with now. And it's because we started talking behind the scenes within the program of like, I don't understand how they do this. It's like multiplicity behind there and where do they find the energy to this? So it makes complete sense to me. What I am doing different than what I did before is bringing in more play. So with my gate 40, what I have realized that in those moments that I may not have the energy or it's not high,
Right.
I honor that for one, but I introduce play. So that is the time that I either pick up a book and I read, I go for a walk, I get out into nature, I spend time meditating, and I'm not allowing my open route to put in that pressure that I have to go and be in
Right.
competition with other generators that are building their businesses. I'm honoring what my design is, and I can see more that my gate 40 is really helping me do that trial and error kind of thing.
Yep.
And I also do see that I am, it's something that my gate 40 is teaching me that I do is I am a loner. So
Right.
like even the 51 we were talking is, that can be a loner channel as well.
Totally. It just goes
And
off on its own.
right. But the most important thing that you really need to learn when you're building your business is how to delegate. And my gate 40 and my 51 won't delegate where I need to learn how to delegate certain things. So I'm asking myself, is this something that I feel like I absolutely need to do? Or is that like an ego thing? Can I delegate this? Or do I absolutely need to do it? So everything that you're saying right now makes complete sense.
It absolutely. And back to that story, because the point I wanted to make is all the generators were willing to. No, it's perfect. All the generators that were doing that you recognized, and they're all generators asking me to be like them. Did you notice that if left unfettered, those generators would potentially have worked themselves back into a 12 or 14-hour day in that moment?
Oh, absolutely.
All righty. Well, how's that healthy? Not.
It's not, because a lot of the mentors that I invested in, guess what? They are now figuring out their human design.
Right.
And they are talking about not being a
slave.
And this is a big lesson for me because most of the people I'm here to serve are workaholics. I'm a workaholic. So we have to have that play and we have to have that passion so that when we are doing something, it's not, it doesn't feel like we are working. And not to, I think those 12 to 14-hour days are coming by our own expectations that we're placing upon ourselves.
Well, Gate 5 is just this recognition that to achieve this liberation, negative forces must be rejected.
Yep.
That's a healthy place. That's a good fifth line. It's a practical fifth line thing to do. Across the top, deliverance, aloneness. It's the point of transition between struggle and liberation. And so, our awareness centers give us plenty of awareness, but every gate in the body graph has its intelligence, that cycles back through our awareness centers, through our observations, through our chemistry. And gate 40's intelligence is finding that point of liberation between the struggle. The struggle is I'm working too hard. The liberation is I'm putting my feet up for a few and no, I'm not doing more work right now. No.
And I'm not going to feel guilty about it.
I'm not going to, right.
I'm not going to allow my open route to give me that pressure that I'm feeling guilty because I'm not doing something.
I haven't done enough. Yes. It plagues us all, Jen, those of us who I have it, I've done it. I'm certain you've seen that open route in action, just wanting to move, not knowing even what for. So just feeling like we're in a hurry to keep getting more stuff done. And we're missing the point when that all happens. So
yes,
this motivation and this willpower and this commitment and this identification of your own, self-worth. If you have an open ego, you struggle back and forth between the various forms of self-worth you do and do not have, that you think you do or do not have. Even worse, that you think you do or do not have. That's all not self-talk. That's exactly who we're not. But back to the gate 40, all those generators would have enslaved themselves, but they can't fully because we're in a world now where they're surrounded by ego beings and not all of them are generators. So the model gets put out into the world. Don't slave yourself. The ego puts this model out. Don't turn into a slave. That's an ego slogan. That's not a sacral slogan. That could be an emotional slogan as well. It could be a mind slogan, but it definitely is an ego slogan. Don't you dare turn into a slave.
I think that's important, especially I'm going to make sure that I come back and listen to that because again, like a lot of the coaches that I invested in, they were great coaches. Don't get me wrong, great coaches. Most of them were generators, but what I had noticed over 5 years, some of them had businesses that they were in it for like 10, 15 years. And one day they woke up and they're like, they don't want to do it anymore. And it was like, rip it all down because what they did was they ended up becoming a slave to their business when initially they became their own entrepreneurs to have that freedom from the system because everyone thinks that, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you can do whatever you want. No, if you set yourself up, you will become a slave of your own creation.
It's a fact. It's a fact. And witnessing that is something that's just so important to literally witness. It happened to me, Jennifer. I was a slave to my mortgage business. Full on slave. So, through 1, 2, 3 relationships that didn't work, 4, 5, something like that, just enough. A busted up marriage, in part because I was not available because I was all that root pressure, thought I had to work too much. Nothing was ever good enough. I became a slave, yet I had made more money than I'd ever made in my whole lifetime at moments times 10. And still I'm a slave. It's like I know certain people that are smart enough to be like, I did all that. I'm moving to Guam and I'm going to make this last 10 years and I'll come back and write some more loans then. Two totally different things, but it happens. Our societies, our Western societies especially, drive this motion. It's no good. Gate 40 is here to save us all. Gate 40, come tell us no. Come deny it. Come show us what it is to move into your aloneness, where nihilism, as it relates to it will now give, is there. So don't take it personally when the gate 40 in your life, whoever that is, suddenly denies you. Wait. The motor is recharging. Tune in tomorrow. Text them, a few hours later. Don't take it personally that gate 40 said no. Something's got, and it says no with an ego. That's a different no, and you can't beat it back. The ego will always hold its position. The ego is the thing that stands there. Again, we've said this before, charges into battle at hordes of enemy, knowing for sure it's going to die. That's an ego commitment, that's other things in the body graph for sure. And it is an ego willpower, that's just going to do the thing. And it's not, but when it's done doing the thing, it's going to rest. Rest, reward. And it's just, that's what's so important about this. Can you pull up the wheel? Because something magic happens as it relates to the ego, as it relates to this gate 40. I'm always talking, I can't wait to take a full walk around the wheel, Jennifer. This is going to be really, we'll see the genetic program at work. So gate 59 is just before gate 40. There it is. Quarter of duality, where it's all about bonding and getting together and making more. It's in Virgo, moving into Libra. So these all have this quality of bonding and making more and getting together. And that's what duality is all about, relationships. So as gate 59 moves into gate 40, let's see, you can go back to the other slide. We get to gate 59. Gate 59 is all about bonding. It's part of the sleeping phoenix. So here's humanity rising like the phoenix to find the bonds it will be into. Okay. Suddenly, as it finds the right bonds, the spirit is there. I'm keynoting the crosses that approach gate 40. This cross of spirit. This starts with the phoenix must rise. And then in its rise, it finds its spirit. It's because gate 59 is opposite gate 55. So those two are a polarity in the wheel. And so they have everything to do with each other. So once you find the spirit, what does the wheel say is next? What's the next genetic component for humanity to really find its survival? You go back into the tribe. You find the right affection. You get married. Because gate 40 is part of the marriage contract, the marriage bond, the channel of community, the channel of making a bargain. My handshake is my word. My word is my bond. All these terms are ego gate 40 terms. My word is my bond. My handshake is my word. And the following through of it. Integrity. So what happens when you found the spirit? Anchor it into the integrity of the bond. Get married. Start a family. Go to work. Find the right ratio, because the family fills the spirit. It's an incredible part. That's what our evolution has been doing for us. Every time this time of year, when that comes around, that's what's happening. The spirit rises, and then we go to work with it. Spirit rises, we go to work with it. Now, I'm not saying the spirit rises any good. In the melancholy of some of these things, the spirit may fall, and we quit our job for it. That's our not self world has a mess going on. But in an awake where everyone was aware of the mechanics of their design and acting out their nature, that's what would happen. We would find that spirit. We would see what was a spirit, and then suddenly we would want to put it to work. I just think it's a beautiful movement in the wheel. As we're going around the wheel, the spirit moves. Now, the spirit doesn't move into the canvas of the painting. It could. It doesn't move into running off on your favorite vacation like maybe one of the experiential gates would do. No, it moves into the practical muscle of gate 40 to do the work that supports the family and is part of the family and is part of that, bond that makes that marriage contract. I just thought that was super duper interesting that it does that. All of these ego gates have a wicked cool story leading up to it when I look at the wheel. That's what made me think to do that. So, any other questions on gate 40?
No, you want me to go over what the spirit animal is? The animal totem?
Oh, dude, I thank you. I forgot we did that last week. Yep.
So gate 40 is the animal totem is the moose. And the moose totem is a signal of wisdom and the use of one's power. It is confidence to stand resolutely and boldly in the anatomy of your being. It does not budge from its movements, but also does not seek to incline violence. The moose is akin to the image of an elder who has nothing to prove, nothing to hide, and shares her knowledge with gentle yet steadfast encouragement. Receiving moose medicine is a sign to relax deeply into the person you are, liberating its inherent structure of consistency opens a clear channel of communication between you and the world and your world. Recognize who you are, your accomplishments, and the struggles you have overcome. Ease into the wise elder within you who knows the firm yet composed way to proceed.
So this has done once again. It's done a decent job of describing Gate 40 in more diversity of terms. You started out pretty quick, and you got to what was totally describing the ego's ability to work, and willingness, I will, willingness, that will. Every time I say I will, we're invoking our ego. And it's funny you say that, because the thing that gets called out of the ego, the second line of the ego, is called resoluteness. And that was it was within the very first sentence or two that you read.
I'm really got to dive more into this gate, because Saturn, I dive into using astrology as to help my clients on what their purpose here is. Saturn is like the father figure. It's one of the things that you are here to help overcome. When you start to use the energy of Saturn, whether it's in astrology and now into human design, that's going to help you overcome things for what you're really truly here to do. That just reading this really describes a lot of what I know to be true of why I'm here.
Jennifer, I can see very much how this book sort of helps flesh out more ways to think and feel into this knowledge that can do nothing but expand it and make it more colorful and more digestible.
For me, yes, because I am much of the shaman, and I have the magic of life around me help, it helps me learn, because you have everything that you want to know is inside of you. But animals, especially when I got my two cats, just watching them and the two different personalities, and how, when we get out of the mind and we let our souls lead, it will ultimately, it knows what we're here to do. It knows our purpose. It will guide us in every which way. So I learn better by associating it with the animal, because animals are amazing. That's why we have so many different ones on this planet, and each one brings something to the table.
Let the spirit dream, Jennifer, in all circumstances. Take in the information, incorporate it, allow it in, and then let it dream and breathe. And that's what this does. I love that. Let the information, let the spirit dream. And so work and Gate 40 dreams of the right job, that it gets the right rest for the right pay. That's as it relates to the mundane version of that. It's part of a mystical stream too. It's part of the human mystical circuitry, just so you know. It's a bridge between it's a bridge along the way in the four channels that make up the mystical circuitry inside the body graph. There is a mystical circuit. It's very much, our animals are in the sky and painted on the walls of all the caves for a reason. We have an important relationship with them. Our mysticism is derived in our duality, in our binary between us and them. Much of our mysticism was come to be known. In fact, we didn't even have a ton of mysticism until we first started killing an animal and watching its life force be extinguished, for the sake of feeding our family and our tribe, our community, as serious business. And now you know why most people aren't a butcher. I said the word serious in my stupid thing.
Started talking.
Rip it over there, you. I'll iOS you into oblivion. Anyway, that's funny. So that's Gate 40. Let's move on to Gate 26.
All right.
I mean, is there anything else you want to say about this?
No, I've just got Luna meowing at the door.
Luna. Love you. Miss you, Luna. I'm going to pretend you're my Willie. for a moment. Gate 26. Yeah, my cat ran away, everybody. He's gone. I haven't seen him for about 3 months now, 2.5. I'm just hoping he's warm and shows back up sometime in spring. His name's Willie, so if everyone will pray.
He's a tuxedo.
He's a tuxedo kitty cat, and he's a double pawed, and he's an amazing kitty cat. That's my Willie. Anyway, Gate 26, this taming power of the great. So this could only be in the ego will center. It's there delivering a message. It's called the egoist. And in future definitions, as we wake up more, we will start to change some of these keynotes. Just their essence will always remain, and that's fine. It's just that the language will change a little bit to fit more the level of awareness. So this
one's in mine. I've got this one defined in my
3 separate times.
3 separate times, 2 on the design side, 1 on the personality side, and it's in my design sun.
Right. That's because you're moving into the cross of rulership again, and so this is good because when I do the wheel on this one, you'll see where it's coming and where it's going. Had I finished the rest of gate 40, we would have seen it's moving into, I forgot what the gate right after it was, is moving into, I forgot, we'll see next time, but after the work gets done. But anyways, so gate 26, this egoist, what is this taming power? We talked at great length about this on a couple other shows, and when we pulled it apart at one point, you know, we got stuck on your 3 gates, Jen, so we talked extensively about this gate 26. So I feel like we've covered much of it. Gate 26 is the ego willpower to deliver an intelligent message that needs to mold like Play-Doh. In the book, it's called The Manipulation of Memory. Well, since the word manipulation has such a bad rap out there, and it shouldn't, look at it like Play-Doh. When you're a kid, you're manipulating the Play-Doh over and over again, right? You're manipulating it to make this shape, to make that shape. When a kid's playing with Play-Doh, they are manipulating it. And gate 26 takes what it does is it takes all 4 cans of the Play-Doh that are supposed to be, you know, all around the table. It piles them all together because it's taming power of the great. So it takes the great pile of Play-Doh and it manipulates it until it has the right look, the right image, the right thing for a transmission. In the example of the child with the Play-Doh, the transmission is, Mom, Dad, look what I made. That's a transmission. In the world of the egoist, the transmission is everything to do with the survival and the continuity of the material success of the tribe. If the tribe has no material success, it can't hunt down its moose for dinner. It can't drill it. Sorry about that one. Had to make
Well, no, that's funny you say that because the spirit animal for 26 is the Wolverine.
Yeah,
so
it is. Oh,
yeah.
I love that. I'm going to thank you.
So the Wolverine does the hunting.
It does the hunting. So this is very much the hunter, and the moose has got all that. Just the moose is an enormous, big, fat thing with pointy sparks. If it's a bull moose, that will gore you. But it's got all this muscle mass to move things around and to, you know, I look at the moose as a powerful animal, and I look at the Wolverine as agile and able to, you know, slice into things. So gate 26 is here to just deliver that blustery willpower that says, this is the message. This is the thing. And it's pointing at gate 44 in the body graph. So again, these ego gates down at the bottom, they're so important because they're both pointing at awareness centers. What does that say? That says the ego is there to tame and be the willpower and the forcefulness that installs the awareness into an action. Installs the awareness into a bargain, into the tribe. Listen, there's only 4 gates on this little bad boy, yet it's responsible for the movement of everything that moves on our planet as it relates to commitments, bargains, planning. The ego is a huge part of the cross of planning. We're in the cross of planning as it's been around since 1610 approximately. And that cross of planning gives us our bargains, allows us to make all these commitments go up. And gate 26 is always transmitting a message. The transmitter that must surrender to the 44 on the other end, which says our awareness says this is the message that need be transmitted. Gate 26 doesn't actually know what message to transmit per se. It just knows it's got this blustery ego willpower to roar and say, da, 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 this is the thing. No, dude, you got da, da, da. It's there ready to do that, but it's awaiting its intelligence. The rest of its intelligence from gate 44 to be like, I'm aware of what is needed instinctually in the moment. It's part of this stream of instinct. And it's the instinctual awareness of exactly what's needed for the tribe to maintain its material success. Again, no material success, no tribe. You know, the material success of, did we dig the hole in the right place to find our water for our well? The well would be material success for the tribe. The land is material success for the tribe. In today's world, you know, we can boil it down to the very simple: money is material success for most tribes. They transfer that money back into the energy of the goods and services they buy and the foods they make and everything else. But aside from all that, it's the ability to roar, and the egoist likes to beat its chest, and it loves its ego reward. Give it its reward. This is a powerful ego gate that tames time and memory and puts them into a message. Okay, just like the kid playing with the Play-Doh. You can deliver a message in 100 different ways. And this taming power of the great tames all of those ways into the most potent delivery. That's all. So the manipulation of memory. Oh, yeah, that sounds so bad. No, it sounds so good. It's the opposite of bad, in case you were wondering. Good. And so we need this because it is constantly giving us the ego authority and the willpower and the determination of this commitment and its sensitivity to the tribe in general to go ahead and manipulate that message. By manipulation, by the way, it just means put all the things together. Again, it's the Play-Doh. You know, no one bitches at the child for manipulating the Play-Doh. You know, it's not something one does. It's the kids manipulating the Play-Doh. Of course, you manipulate.
No, it's actually telling them that they're using their imagination.
They're using their imagination, and there's a great deal of imagination in 26 because its memory is everywhere, and half of the manipulation is just the fact that it chose these aspects to transmit, and in that, the manipulation is it didn't choose the other the other aspects. Hey, there was a million aspects in this ego moment, being aware by the moment-to-moment pulse of gate 44, this moment-to-moment hit of awareness to say, I'm putting the message together this way. We're always assembling a message in our mind's eye. What actually gets delivered? Well, dude, you can't be at fault. There can be no lack of disclosure simply because you chose this method of delivery rather than another. If it seems too manipulative, yes, on the mundane plane, this ego gate 26 can very much just turn manipulative and yucky. And we've seen that ugly 7-centered version of this coming out. We've all lived it out, you know, and then we see it. Part of our awareness is recognizing, where are we living out the old way? Where are we living out the new way? The new way is this 9-centered communion that could care less. It could care less. A healthy ego could care less that it did or didn't deliver necessarily the best message. It'll just, you know, reshape its message next time. So we should allow the same grace and not even privilege. It's a right, that the human right, that the gate 26 in the human body has the right to not be told it's manipulative, but rather to be told, thank you for transmitting a message. And if there is something in that message that seemed too blustery, too much, untamed, not sophisticated enough. Again, this is pointing at the sophisticated nature of gate 44. Alertness. Gate 44 is an awareness in our body. It's in the spleen. And it says, I'm alert, I'm alert, I'm alert. And the ego is like, what are you alert for? It's like, and the spleen says, I got it. It's this. And the spleen is looking at, the gate 44 is looking at what eventually drives us to extinction or not. I say that's some handy awareness to have. I have a gate 44, you know, and it's in an open center. And so I
have this whole channel.
Yeah. It's a channel of the transmitter, you know, alert to what might drive us into extinction or not, what might not work, what will ruin the continuity. This whole stream of awareness from 54 all the way through to gate 26 is a stream of awareness. 4 gates, 2 channels. It's called the stream of instinct. Smell, taste, the instinctual awareness to taste and smell that which is going to give us the continuity that allows the tribe to have its material success. I've just keynoted that whole stream of awareness It's an actual awareness inside us. We have it. It's pumping away all the time. And we know it's at work when suddenly in a moment, oh, snap, that's not going to work. Then we'll be like, and I'll look at the person, you got that awareness, right? You see, you became aware. And it's not mystical that we're aware. It's practical. It's genetic. What we do with it then becomes our mystical way through this world and through the other forces that are beyond our ability to know. Remember our New Year's resolution. What was worth it? What was the struggle in the past? What are our ambitions moving forward? We're just finishing up this whole process of 61. What is the mystery of it all? What can I know? What do I not know? And gate 26 may put out a message that can't be known. And gate 26 can then fine tune that message through the alertness of the ego to, hey, listen, we can't know that, but we can know this. In our pursuit of the not knowing of that, maybe we'll come to something mystical with all of that. Maybe we'll come to some new higher plane. Maybe we'll discover the next new thing that's worth knowing. So thank you, gate 26. Thank you, gate 44. Thank you, all the gates. We need these gates in our prayers and when we pledge allegiance again, if we ever get that back into our schools. And, we should sprinkle in some of these gates at each one of these moments. All 64 of them, they're all doing the same thing as it relates to keeping our continuity. And the last thing I would love to point out about gate, not just gate 26, the ego in general, is these two bottom gates, gate 26 and gate 10. Well, they have not only everything to do with awareness, but the stream of instinct on the left pointing towards the spleen and aware instinct, and gate 40 pointing at the awareness coming out of gate 37. That whole stream is about sensitivity and support. So the ego is heavily energized by motorized energy and instinctual awareness as to what we need to support. Support and instinct and sensitivity are tied up in here. And that's none of that is the business of anything else but this ego, because notice these things are terminating in the ego center. These streams I'm referring to, they come out of the root center and they wrap around the awareness of the emotion in the solar plex, and they dead end here in the ego. The ego is the awareness center, what shall I say, the interpreter of the awareness that's pouring in. A whole ton of our wicked important tribal awareness pumps into this ego before this ego, out of either 51 or 22, out of either 51 or 21, heads out and delivers a message. So the message that's being delivered out of the top two gates is very much the product of this incredible, instinctual, sensitive, supportive, tribal, community-oriented, bond-making awareness that keeps us together. The ego's the glue, and gate 26 helps deliver the message to that glue. We need it. And you'll know if you have an unhealthy gate 26 in yourself or in your life, because you're constantly trying to bluster out a message that is of no value, does not support anyone else, doesn't feel sensitive. You can't tell if instinctually it even feels any good. The other's looking in and noticing how counterproductive it is all the time. It's the material success isn't showing up in order to feed your tribe, yourself. So the low expressions of both of these are, I deny everything and I'm going to brag about everything I deny. I'm going to brag about how much I deny everything. That would be a rather unhealthy expression of these two gates put together, just in the world, not cooperating, not communing. If you feel out of communion with your tribe, these two gates are suffering their not self, seven-centered old way expression. In the old way, gate 40 was like, you're a slave, and gate 26 is, stay a slave or I'm going to kill you. I'm delivering you a message. You're going to die. Gate 26 is like, let's rally the forces to go sack the village next door. So it doesn't sound very nice.
No.
That was our old way. We weren't very nice in our old seven-centered way ending in 1781. And we have to get the message, the rest of the message. This is genetic material working away in us in the manner in which we're describing. So do you want to do the animal thing, or do you want me to point the thing on the wheel first? What order would you like to go?
Let me do the animal thing, and then we have Shakti is with us, so she's making comments. I want to make sure that I like what she says on some of them. I'll do that first, and then I'll do the animal. Gate 26 equals integrity.
Sure.
Gate 51, to be unshakable.
If you're lucky, yeah.
Gate 21, to honor one's unique role in the cosmic plan.
Part of controlling the message that would get delivered. So, meaning the cosmicness is our ability to deliver the message that is then help support the tribe. The
Love
cosmos is in the tribe and the bond. I love it.
And gate 40, the ability to retreat like the hermit as a way to replenish ourselves. Yes.
I love it. Sure.
Yes. So much me.
Wow,
She
thank you. That was very
there's
sweet.
also brought to the attention that the way that y'all are viewing it, this is a 40, guys. It just looks like it may look like it's coming through as a 10. It was the font that I used. I'll keep that in mind the next time, but it is gate 40, not 10.
Yeah, it's got a thin little 4 sticking out off the left.
Yeah, it's really thin. I can see it, but I can understand on the other end you may not see it. So the animal totem for gate 26 is the Wolverine. And Wolverines have a reputation of being rare to see and ferocious fighters. While on average, Wolverines don't have a height greater than 18 inches, these hunters can prey on a moose. They are persistent in all arenas, enormous territory, fierce hunting, ferocious eating habits, and covering vast distances quickly. It is good to be wary of a Wolverine. Wolverine medicine calls for persistence. It is a message to not give up. Through the lens of this hexagram, it is also a reminder to recall your identity when pushing forward with tenacity. This is a powerful medicine to be considered carefully before using the force it carries. When bolstered with the power of Wolverine Totem, the goal is not to fiercely attack all things, but rather it is power for preserving the self in harsh conditions. Look inward and remember who you are before calling upon the willpower's resolute action.
Perfect. It's a perfect description. Absolutely. And this recognizing it even talks about disseminating the message and that willpower to physically go out and hunt and do the work. And I love it. This was actually really good, Jen. That's the Wolverine, gate 26. Now on the wheel. So here we are in our evolutionary movement, and gate 26 is right up there near the top, near gate 11. We've been through all these gates. Gate 11 is Savannah's incarnation. 10 is mine. 26 is yours. One of your, it's on your design side. Gate 5. So gate 5 shows up in this quarter of mutation in Sagittarius, and we're going through the wheel. We're bearing children into the world, right? We're figuring out how our week is going to go, and we're also evolutionarily participating in an evolutionary process. So we're doing all 3 of these things at once. And gate 5 is a must. It's about fixed patterns and waiting, fundamental attunement to the natural rhythms, where waiting is an active state of an awareness. So gate 5 is part of the cross of consciousness. So consciousness has everything to do with the Buddha on the hill waiting, right? And it's aloneness, waiting and determining, I'm in an active state of awareness. In response, suddenly consciousness will form. I will be aware of something new in my awareness, my consciousness. And so we go through this gate of consciousness as we build our 9 centered human communal, ego-supported, generator motorized, emotionally sensitive and aware, awareness and consciousness. I'm trying to keynote all the awarenesses and all the stuff that's going on. And we know we're waiting as an active state of an awareness that is a conscious way to build our consciousness. You sitting still builds consciousness in many ways. Meditating would be an active state of awareness in waiting. So as we go through this consciousness and we start to move through what is, we get to the page here, what is, as we move, that's the right angle. So just sort of waiting, and that's self-absorbed, right angle. And as we move through this gate number 5, it's incarnation cross as it moves up the ladder of gate 5 is the right angle cross of separation. So we go from consciousness to then we humans, we separate some. And in that separation, we're seeking the right tribe. We're seeking the right movement. We're seeking the right divergence from the consciousness we have into the consciousness we will develop. Right? You find good consciousness, you find a good pattern, you find a good habit. It doesn't mean that's all you ever do. You're about to move. It's time to separate from that. We humans were separate. It's an illusion that we're separate. We're all connected. We're all one.
Exactly.
Every
It is
atom
an
in our body
illusion.
is string theory connected right to every other atom in the cosmos. At least the quarks in it and the photons moving through us and the neutrinos that are part of us. It's all connected. We're starting to measure. Again, we're smart little guys. We humans. We are measuring this stuff. Granted, there's nefarious stuff that goes on out there. I grant you that, but we're still smart little creatures, and we have measured that we are now all connected. Science has actually figured that out. So it's not, we're all connected. But in this illusion of our separateness, in this beautiful illusion that we live in, where we get to fall in love with somebody else who's different from us and see if that union works, where we get to take on separate things and separate ourselves, the consciousness is designed to expand through the original act of waiting. So, and finding this attunement to these patterns. So here we go through this consciousness expansion process. And what's the next step in line? We go to gate 26, the cross of rulership. As the consciousness builds, it's time to move into rulership. And I notice, so this gate and its opposition across from gate 5, which is 35, both of them move into rulership. So we're here to then figure out exactly how to basically the consciousness that leaves gate 5. You would normally have, let's see, 26. Yeah. So as we move out of consciousness, we move into gate 26, a design to basically put all that stuff into a tribal rulership format whereby the tribe can thrive and be taught. Instinctual teaching and the sensitivity to support the tribe through the act of transmitting the message that is teaching the tribe what was the consciousness and awareness we just had. So basically aiding the tribe's ability to have effective rulership is consciousness. So the next time someone complains about tribalism as a problem, you tell them to read between the lines and it's not a problem. Toxic tribalism is a problem. Tribalism is good, just like toxic anything else. Toxic too muchness, toxic masculinity, toxic femininity, toxic politics, toxic wokeness.
There you go.
Yeah, wokeness is its own tribe. That's not just a collective thing. Oh, they're tribal, and it's toxic. And notice there's no the consciousness and awareness inside of the woke tribe, unfortunately. And some of these people are people we love. We're just waiting for them to wake up. They don't even know they're in the tribe. It's so devoid of its conscious awareness of its own self. In fact, that woke, now that we're talking about it, this description we're going through says the woke tribe skipped the step of going through the waiting and the awareness process.
Well, what I've noticed through my research, because I will, for a moment when I was investigating through my, doing what my design does, I wanted to see what they were putting out on the other side, like these liberal channels, because there's different views that you can do. And it's all has to do with perception. But there's a lot of manipulation that is happening within the message. So it's, yeah.
Some of that manipulation will be needed in certain cases. I'm not speaking for them. I'm only speaking for myself now at this moment.
Right. So
if I transmit whatever message I'm transmitting, gate 26 is in the world. The taming power of that memory will take hold in me sometimes. And, for myself, I agree. For the woke mob, there's no consciousness behind that woke mob. We've just demonstrated that as we take our walk around the evolutionary wheel. By the way, I never thought to put it in those words until I read it on the wheel just now. The woke mob has no consciousness. They're just a mob. And when I say no consciousness, super limited consciousness. They're not devoid of like zero. That's
Right.
but it's just it's limited. The de facto consciousness, broken up, shattered into pieces, not well put together. Pick your term. It's something of that nature, and so I'll sum it all up and to point out their consciousness sucks. It fully sucks. There's your grade. You get an F for your attempts at consciousness, and you suck. So how many other ways to put that? So that, again, the beauty of Gate 26 is to say there is a message worth transmitting. That transmission helps with the rulership. Nine-centered rulership is about educating in our tribal ways, and tribalism is not toxic. It's consciously aware. It's by design consciously aware. It's supposed to be anyways. So let's watch our terminology as it relates to pointing fingers and all that nonsense. Tribalism is good. It's healthy. In our nine-centered form, tribalism would never allow itself to go sack the village next door to take all their crap. That's the old seven-centered way.
Right.
The new way is supportive, sensitive to the support and the continuation of the instinctual need for material success, which is supportive and sensitive. Again, all this awareness dead ends and culminates in the ego. So we need to get rid of ego. No. We need to give ego her cushy throne to sit on once in a while.
You don't get rid of ego. I do not believe in that concept.
I agree.
You marry your ego, but depending how we are describing the ego center is different than I think a lot of people get hung into the not self theme of the ego. The ego has always been there to protect you, but because you have, whatever happened to you when you were a child, that ego has stepped in to help, protect you from certain things. That doesn't mean that's necessarily positive when you get older, because it can act in the not self theme.
All of this ego activity, open or closed, definitely turns toxic all over the place in little moments and big moments. And so you take all those ingredients of each of those moments and you put it into the human soup, and it seems like a toxic human soup. It's just aspects of it, and there's nothing wrong with this ego. If you have a defined ego, let yourself roar, pat yourself on the back. Certain times, do give yourself that rest reward ratio. If you have an open ego, don't work like a slave. You got nothing to prove, and stop saying I will in front of everything. Be very selective in what you quote will do. You got an open ego. You're not there to prove anything. You're there to let ego people prove shit. That's their job. They love that stuff. And you're there to support them with your generative juice while they do that, because support and sensitivity to the material success of the tribe is instinctually correct. So 1, 2, 3, Shazam. It's just, we're all supposed to get along in all of this. I didn't know that I was have so much fun reading these gates, Jen. I'm like, I don't have a gate 40. I don't have a gate 26, blah, blah, blah.
I have gate 26 defined 3 times.
Yep.
In my incarnation cross on my design side. So
yeah.
Yes. And
that means as the dominion over all of the pertinent aspects, instinctually aware of whatever the supportiveness is that you then take dominion over, the next step in line is to apply that to rulership.
Which my son falls on the incarnation cross of rulership.
Yeah.
So I tell him that, I am about building something that is, I don't even see it as a business. I'm building my legacy, because it's not just for me. It will also carry on with him and everything like that. It's like I'm the foundational work. I will be stepping into a leadership, but ultimately he will most likely take over that.
By the way, I said that a little bit backwards. After the rulership is established, what consciously we're to make the effort of taking dominion over, that's what was next. I said it backwards. The rulership sets the foundation to establish that which the consciousness will be moving into its dominion over, or not.
Its dominion.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it needs the consciousness to know. Needs it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. That makes sense.
Yep. It needs that consciousness to know. So
All right.
That's our human 9-centered way. We're such beautiful little creatures. As soon as we stop being such devilish little bastards.
Yep. So let me just check in with the comments. Of course, thank you, Shakti, for tuning in.
Yeah.
Love everything that you're saying. Beautiful books and cards, animal totems. For you guys that want to know what book I was reading out of, it is the Animal Totem and I Ching. You can find this on Etsy. I don't think it is on Amazon. There's a card deck that goes with it. She has another book too that she did that is based on the incarnation crosses. I highly recommend checking it out. I love this book. It's come in handy. So if you guys want to know, that's what it is. And of course, if you want to get your own human design book, please check the comments. There's a link in there. You can purchase it off of Amazon. I already pulled that for you. Ida checked in. Hello, honey.
Ida, I love you. It's been so long.
Yes.
How are you?
Yes, for those of you who don't know, we will be in Roswell, New Mexico for the UFO Expo in March. So if you haven't already, make sure you buy your ticket to that. If you're going to be in that area or not, fly in there. Come see us because that should be one hell of a conference. I can't wait. Dan has actually helped do a presentation where he did the human design of the guy who built Coral Castle. And if you guys don't know what Coral Castle is, definitely look it up. But it was pretty phenomenal to dive into his chart. So the presentation will be aired at the UFO Expo if you guys want to check that out. So
it was so wonderful taking part in that documentary that was being put together. I felt honored. We were honored to be on part of that, Jen. It was really good.
It was an honor, and I think that it's a great thing for you because my intention and my hope is to get that information out because all these documentaries that are being done, I think once we start to dive into the person's human design of these historical figures, it can go a long way. It's a great forensic tool. That's what our Wednesday show.
Yes, the forensicness, the curiosity to help solve the mystery, to help do all these things that we're doing in our New Year's resolution process. So tomorrow, at some point today or tomorrow, we move into limitation, and it's about letting go. So to finish that process.
Definitely letting go. Definitely letting go.
It's going to be a transcendent process. That's what comes up next in the wheel.
Perfect.
So, Miss Jen, I think we did a really good job. Thank you. I love you. This is good.
Yep, real quick. Catherine, thank you for tuning in. I think you're new to our channel, but welcome. Reflector in Florida. That
sounds like a book title, Reflector in Florida.
Yep, got some friends that are in Florida, and yes. All right.
That rocks. Thank you.
Yes, thank you everybody who tuned in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow the show. Share this out if you found it informative or you know somebody else who would benefit from it. And we will see you on Wednesday. Don't know who we're doing.
Nikolai Tesla, Wednesday.
Are you
Nikolai
serious?
Tesla. Yeah, I saw that look on your face, Jennifer. I wanted to say the name so I could catch that live.
Yeah, I think that that's a great one.
Nikolai Tesla. And Lori Bell did some reading for it. So
did she? I saw her do I think I saw something come by my Instagram that she was doing it.
Yep.
That's going to be a very good one.
Yep.
Yes.
I already contacted her and see if she wanted to take part in any of that, or I'm sure she wouldn't mind if we spliced in part of her potentially.
No. She's so spot on accurate with her face readings. It is phenomenal.
It's really something else. So these disciplines are all coming together, guys. Call it in, get your reading, bring your couple's ass in here, and we'll fix you up.
That too, make sure if you haven't gotten a session with Dan or you want to dive deeper into the chart, go to the website. You can book a session with Dan, also a couple session, and then I'll put on the website shortly a questionnaire thing. Dan's going to be offering one-on-one mentoring. So if you want to become your own analyst, you want to dive deeper and know how to help other people, he is offering that too. If you're interested in it, just send us a message. We'd like to get you signed up.
All day long. Thank you, Jennifer, and goodbye, everybody.
You're welcome. Y'all have a wonderful Sunday. Bye now.